श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। उकारस्वन्धकारो वैरुकारस्तन्निवर्तकः अन्धकारनिरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्ट्वागुंसस्तनूभिः विषेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्ठनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ॐ नमो ब्रह्मविद्यासम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यः। नमो नमः श्री गौडपाद श्री शंकर भगवत्पाद सुरेश्वराचार्येभ्यः। नमो गुरुभ्यः प्रज्ञानां शुभप्रदानैः स्थिरचरनिकरव्यापिभिर्व्याप्य लोकान् भुक्त्वा भोगान् स्तविष्ठान् पुनरपि दिशनोद्भासितान् कामजन्यान् पीत्वा सर्वान् विशेषान् स्वपिति मधुरभुं मायया भोजयन्नः मायासङ्ख्यातुरीयं परममृतमजं ब्रह्म यत्तन्नतोऽस्मि। निस्तुतिर्निर्नमस्कारः निस्वधाकार एव च चलाचलनिकेतश्च यतिर्यादृच्छिको भवेत्। विसा तस्मादेवं विदित्वा येनम् अद्वैते योजयेत् स्मृतिम् अद्वैतं समनुप्राप्य जडवत् लोकमाचरेत्। This is stated for a Paramahamsa sannyasi because there is a Vidhi Vakya Jadaval Lokam Acharet. There is a Niyama Vidhi. The Niyama Vidhi is this is how you should behave. Advaitam Samanuprapya Jadavati Lokamacharet is a Niyama Vidhi. This Vidhi is like Tikakara says Advaita Avagati Dardhyartham. So to gain the Dridha Bhava, basically get a very clear cognition of Brahmavastu. The Nididhyasana Vidhi is stated like elsewhere in Upanishad, Shrotavyaha, Mantavyaha, Nididhyasitavyaha. That Tavya is used to state that you need to follow certain set actions to gain your increase in clarity. That is why it is a Vidhi. So we are saying it is a set practices because it is a Vidhi. The presumption is that every Jivatma has certain inhibiting factors due to the samskara, vasana and all that. Therefore, there could be doubts in one's own mind or seeded by others. So you need to gain clarity other than just Shravana. Shravana whatever Shastra just reveals. Now there are certain augmenting tarka, reasoning that goes with Shastra, which is based on the prevailing philosophies of that age. Like Bhashyakara would have picked up Sankhya, that's a point of view, or Nayayika, Vaiseshika, Mimamsaka, or Vainashikas or Bauddha. So there could be certain Purvapaksha Siddhanta done. Now the person who is teaching, the Acharya here, also can take up certain arguments based on that person's context and what has come across, what he or she has come across. Now that all that can happen in Shravana, but Mananam is essential because individually each one of us will have our own context, our own questions, and people around us could have also seeded some doubts. So that needs to be taken care of for the Dardyam. So Mananam is also essential. Nididhyasanam again, because we have had so many infinite number of births, different yonis. So there is a swabhavika pravritti, which is even like taking our body to be Atma, Dehatma Buddhi, Ashana Pipasa and all that. Whatever is with reference to this body, we have got the vasana from multiple births, infinite births. And also within this birth itself, we have undergone so many experiences, wants, likes, dislikes, everything has been there. So there is always kashayam, the leftover. Therefore, the nididhyasana is the contemplative life is suggested by Shastra. And it is also swabhavikam. So you don't necessarily generally need a vidhi. Once you gain a jnanam, there will be a natural inclination to have that Atma Ramatvam, just relaxing in your Swarupa all the time. However, like we see, despite that inkling, there are always stimuli in our context, in our ecosystem, which make us, get into that Swabhavika Pravritti. That is why we have to put a Niyama Vidhi, especially for Vividisha sannyasis, that having done a Nischaya, that this is what you are seeking, there is a Vyavasayatmika Buddhi, Nischayatmika, the Drida Nischaya is there. So then if this is your goal which you have identified, then you rather spend your time in that Nididhyasana because of Dardhyartham. Yasmat Sarvanartha Upashama Rupatvad Advayam Shivam Abhayam. The Shivam is a padam, Shiva padam. That word is used because the Abhayatvam, there is a value, there is a seeking, the sought nature of the Shivatvam. Everybody seeks that. Everyone wants Shanti. Okay. The Shanti is what is sought. The Abhayam. Because I am all the time disturbed. There is a fear. Fear means not like the normal fear of lion and tiger kind of fear, but the unhappiness, the samsaritvam. Because sometimes I hear people, me and Jai Shankar ji were in Ayodhya. So we went to a college, an inter college. Our friend, one of our friends with whom we were staying there, he took us to his college. He was one of the management persons there. So there was this, we were asked to just introduce what is Vedanta and all that. So we gave a small talk, both Jai Shankarji and myself. So in that, we were talking about this unhappiness and all that, right? The basic nature of us being unhappy. There were about, I think, 35 or 40 teachers or professors, all those people. Then couple of them, they said, no, we are not unhappy. What is there for us to be unhappy? We are happy only all the time. Right? Like that, here also people will say, hey, what is this abhayam? It's not that all the time we are trembling with fear or something. Okay. That is not what is meant. When we say unhappiness, it's not that every time, all the time you are crying. Okay. That is not the point. When we say the happiness is not there, that means there is a samsaritvam, there is a dissatisfaction, incompleteness. That is why you are searching for, see, all the time we are after some pursuit to earn money or gain something is only because there is an inherent fear that I am insecure. Otherwise, why would somebody be so much after pleasure seeking and money seeking and all that? So because there is an inherently dissatisfied self. So just that we don't recognize it. So we take it like unhappiness as in like, I'm happy I was watching cricket match today. I was having good food. I have enough things in life, so I am happy. Is what everybody will say initially, right? Except people who are really like struggling to meet their ends or something. But then you probe a little bit, ask a couple more questions, then one by one, the dissatisfaction will come out. Each person has some or other thing, right? So that is because inherently, so there is always a peak and trough, right? There are extreme emotions, and that roller coaster is there for everyone. That's not what we are talking about. Here it is about the core person. There is a dissatisfaction, right? So, and that is what is there. And abhayam also, there is a fear. I mean, you can't, the sense of insecurity is there. So sometimes it exhibits as fear of death, fear of losing relationship, fear of losing money, fear of so many things, right? That is why we are all running behind so many things, because there is the bhaya. And this Shivam Abhayam is ultimate liberation from all sense of the notion of insecurity itself. Okay, so that needs to be recognized. And that is the Shanti. That is why it is Atma Ramaha, we say. The person who is Arama, who is like after all this toiling around, relaxes in the Swarupa, because the Swarupa is Shiva. That is Abhayam. That Abhayam is Anartha Upashama. Okay. Prapanchopashama. Upashama means in our recognition of Brahmastu, Atmastu, there is no Jagat. That is Upashama. It is not that it was there and it got resolved. If we have to say it was already there and then it has to get dissolved, then what is the reality of what got dissolved? And what got dissolved, what is the guarantee that it will not come up again? So there is no dissolution. It was never there. That jnanam, it was never there, it is never there, it is only Maya. It is as though there. It doesn't have its own reality. The reality is Brahman. And in that recognition of reality of Brahman, there is no prapancha. There is no samsara. Therefore, there is prapanchopashamaha, anarthopashamaha. If there is no prapancha, there is no anartha. In this recognition, may you keep your mind. Evam viditva enam advaite smritim yojayet. Smriti means recollection all the time. Whenever your mind goes away from this jnanam, as in the vyavahara, see, you still have to do vyavahara. Only to the extent, see, this chalachala niketaha, there is one phrase that is used in the couple of verses later, in the next verse. For which Bhashyakara says Chalaniketam, Achala means house. Since Sri Niketaha, all that we have seen, right? Shanti Niketan. The Niketa means a house where person stays. The Chalaniketa, Bhashyakara explains it as where the person is taking oneself as the body just for eating food and all that. And Achala Niketa is when the Jnani stays in the Atma Swarupa, which is unmoving. So the person takes temporarily the Chala Niketa in order to meet your food needs, all that minimal requirements to keep the body. So that is what the Atma Rama is, a person who is all the time in the Achala state. That is why Smritim Yojayet, keep your mind in that state, is the prescription here. Advaita Avagamaya Eva Smritim Kuryat. Therefore, this Avagati, gaining the Advaita nature, as in completely devoid of the Vasana, Samskara and all that, you are always in that Advaita Jnanam, the cognition. Though the Jnanam has taken place during Shravana, but Yojaye, keep yourself in that. That is called as Nishtha. We call it as Nishtha. In Sampradaya, being rooted in that Brahmanishtham, Shrotriyam Brahmanishtham. Even if a person is not in Nishtha, he is still a Jnani. That's why we talk about Videha Mukti and Jivan Mukti. So, Jivan Mukti is if the person is fully rooted in Nishtha all the time. That is Jivan Mukti. There is nothing else. Advaita Vagamaya Smritim Kuryat Karoti. Therefore, the person keeps. Why would that person want to be away from the Atma Rama Sthiti? There is no reason. Why would a person get into samsara once the person has gained this jnanam? Only whatever environmental impetus makes him to do minimal, like to seek food. Even there, this is a Chalaniketa, Achalaniketa, you can take it as Madhukara Vritti and Ajagara Vritti. So there are sannyasis who don't, there are sannyasis who go for Bhiksha. They go 3 times, they have to ask for Bhiksha, and they can go only to one house, and they can ask only 3 times, Bhavati Bhikshamde. That is a niyama. And after third time they don't get, that's all, they have to go back. There is no food that day. That's how that Vidhi was there even for Madhukara Vritti, like a honeybee. Honeybee doesn't mean like you just keep on going everywhere and eating. That is not the point. And Ajagara is like a python. It is just there. Whatever comes, the person just eats. That's it. The mind is all the time rooted in Atma Vastu. That is how the Paramahamsa sannyasi life is prescribed. And that is how the person will be also. Because there is no need to get into any laukika. There is no impetus. There is no drive. There is no ragadvesha. The person is Atma Ramaha. Because going after anything is, we know, is not going to lead to anything substantial. Pariksha lokan karmachitan nirvedamayat brahmanaha nasti akritaha kritena. So that vairagya and nishchaya, viveka vairagya nishchaya is already there. Even before that person gained jnanam. Now after gaining the jnanam, why would that person go after all these things? Advaita avagamaya eva smritim kuryat. The person kurute. So the kar karoti. Tacha advaitam avagamya ahamasmi param brahma iti viditva Ashanayadi atitam sakshad aparokshad ajamatmanam sarvaloka vyavahara atitam jnatva. That Brahman is recognized, it is beyond Ashanayadi, Ashana Pipasa. Why Ashana and Pipasa Bhashyakara has to say here? Because that is the one which, that is the minimum that drives a person. After that, all the other things, insecurity and wanting pleasure, all this is after that. The basic instinct is Ashana, hunger. Even if a person is in a big tapas, fully rooted in Brahmavastu, the hunger doesn't easily leave the person, right? So once hunger comes, automatically the person will get up and go seeking food. Nothing wrong. I'm just saying that is why Ashana is stated here. So the person, even Ashana, the person wins over, because once the person recognizes that Atmavastu is beyond all this, even those don't disturb him. That is the idea here. Viditva Ashanayadi Atitam Sakshad Aparokshat Ajam Atmanam. This is unborn. What is the birth? Birth is in time. Birth means in time. Before this point in time, this was not there. At this point, it is born. And then Antavat means after this point, it is not there. Those cannot be said, because Brahman is beyond even time. The time exists because of Brahman. Time is a concept which is in the awareness only. So Kala is within the Brahmavastu, space is within the Brahma, because only in the cognition the space exists. There is no space beyond it being cognized. Similarly, objects are within Brahma. Therefore, there is nothing, there is no ajam, where jatam. There is no birth. Birth means it has to be within time and space. Atmanam ajam sarvaloka vyavahara loka vyavahara atitam. The whole transactional world, the transactions are within. Again, the Vacan is even one state. Even the Swapna also, even if you take it as Vyavahara, it is two of the three states. So your own experiences are beyond the Vacan and dream, right? You have, that's why it is Turiya, Chaturiyam. So what to talk of Brahmavastu itself? It is Sarvaloka Vyavahara Aditam, that Brahma Avagamya. Avagamya means knowing as not third object, as oneself. Oneself, because that is the only thing which exists. If there is nothing else, there is only oneself has to be that. Advaya, Dvaita Bhava is not there in Brahma, therefore Avagamya Ahamasmi Param Brahma iti. That Brahman is nothing but me. That is the only way to know also, because it is Chit. Chinmatram. Chinmatram Chit is, where is Chit? It is never known as this. Chit can never be known as this cognition. So it can be only I. Ahamasmi Param Brahma iti. Avagamya Jadaval Lokamachare Tacharati, the person just stays, that's all. What is that to go and even do a propaganda about? I know Brahman, for what? Then I'm not after any fame or the Brahma, the person will say, right? Not after, so there's no impetus for gaining fame or changing the world is suffering, all that is not there. Because there is no world, everything is mithya only, right? So it will always be like that. The dharma in the world will always be fluctuating. There will be adharma, there will be dharma at all points in time. So none of those will in essence disturb the person. But the person may choose to do dharma and may do things to enhance the dharma, because before the person gained the jnanam, the person would have been a dharmika. Otherwise, how will that person would have gained the jnanam? So there will be a natural this thing to propagate dharma, that is fine. Nothing wrong with that. Then nistutihi nirnamaskaraha. निस्वधाकार एव च चलाचल निकेतश्च यतिहि यादृच्छिको भवेत्. So how does this person behave? Kaya charyaya lokam acharet. What kind of action? So what are, when you say jadavat, how should that person behave in the world? The connection. So nistutihi nirnamaskara. The person is not doing stuti stotra of any person, another person, nor of Bhagavan or any protector or anything like that, nor is the person seeking stuti from others. Why should a person do a stuti namaskara of another devata or Ishvara, anything, if the person is, if it is a jnani, the person is not going to seek anything. I am doing this stuti so that I am going to, let me gain this, all that. Jnani tu atmaiva. So the jnani sees Ishvara as samashti and sees himself also as Ishvara only. Himself as in like not this Vyatirikta Dehavan. Swarupena is Ishvara. So there is no need for Stuti Namaskara. Nor is this person seeking any glory. Everyone should pray because there is no want that I am small. See, this whole seeking of Namaskara and all is because the person feels small. So by somebody doing Namaskara, this person feels, oh, see, I am being prostrated to. Okay. So that also is a smallness. This person being jnani is infinite. There is no limitation. Jnani brahmavid brahmaiva bhavati. Atmavid shokam tarati atma jnani tu atmaiva. Everything is the jnani is Brahman. There is no other Brahman. So he becomes an altar of worship because he or she is a Brahman. But from that Upadhi perspective, the jnani's perspective, the person doesn't even see that particular body as anything significant. Therefore, the Stuti Namaskara and all that is not what jnani will seek. But even if the person is not yet fully a jnani, with a Paramahamsa sannyasi who is seeking jnanam, may that person also not seek Stuti Namaskara, may not seek Pada Puja. And because nowadays we see that also. There's so much urge for people to be garlanded and do Pada Puja. Even some 10-day courses, 5-day courses, people take something, there is Pada Puja. I mean, that's okay. Students want to do, that's fine. But this is like, making it part of the event, that and all we see. Again, this is all because this was there even during my Gurukulam days. There were people who were seeking all that. Okay. Because they got, in fact, interested in sannyasa because they saw others being, glorified and prostrated to and all that. Again, that is okay till the time the person gains jnanam or becomes a serious student. It is one of those, like there are so many other pursuits. This is one other pursuit, seeking acceptance, seeking glorification, all those things. But when there is a clear nishchayatmika buddhi is there, your goal is to gain this moksha and you are a sannyasi. So come out of all this. Try to, even if you still have the urge, it's okay. Just keep it aside for now. And it will automatically go away after some time once you gain the jnanam. That is the idea. So stuti namaskaradi sarva karma vivarjitaha. May you also not See, why I was saying this is even to Devata and all that, because the next half of first line is Niswadhakara Evacha. The Swadhakara, Swadha, Swaha, these are two, the Devatas we say, right? Swaha is in your yajna. If you are doing it to Devata, you say Swaha. And if it is to Pitris, generally the word Swadha is used. Swadha Namaha. So Niswadhakara, because the Pitrikarma, Shraddhadi Karma is Varjita for sannyasis. So Niswadhakara is told in the second half. That is why this Nistutihi Nirnamaskaraha can be taken as the Devata Upasana also the person gives up. But some Dandi sannyasis and all that are still given some Smarta Karma of puja and all that. But even there, the ahankara there is adhyaropita on the danda. The ego is superimposed on the danda they have. And it is only the danda which is doing the smarta karma. That is why if you see them, the sannyasi, Shankaracharya and all that, they first, the prostration, they use the danda too. That is the dandavat pranama we say, right? So the Shashtanga Namaskara. So that they do with the danda. In fact, when they do snanam also, first they do for the danda. Okay, that is where their ego is superimposed in order for doing the smarta karma. So that's why for these sannyasis who are not dandi sannyasis, the Suti Namaskara is not prescribed. Smarta karma, they can't do Srauta karma, Yajnadi karma, all that has to be given up. And this Ashta Shraddham is done before the person takes up sannyasa for 7 ancestors and oneself. The Shraddha is done. So after that, there is no Swadhakara also. So this is all Vidhi sannyasa only. It is described here. Vidhivat sannyasam, when somebody is taking, may that person give up. But if the person is not taken up sannyasa, then it's a different thing, right? Then it is in your buddhi, you have to give up. Because if you are grihastha, you still have to do Sudhakara and you have to do Stuti Namaskara. But in your understanding, you give up. The Kartrutva, Bhoktrutva is what has to be given up. That's how we have to see. But this is for people who have taken sannyasa, is where the vidhi is. Tekta sarva bahya aishanaha, all the external wants having given up, pratipanna paramahamsa parivrajyaha. See, that is what. So, these people have taken up Paramahamsa Parivrajaka. That's why in Shankaracharya also is called as Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Shankaracharya. So, Parivrajati, the person goes around, they are not staying in one place. Because, the moment you are in one place, you will have an attachment for that place. So, there it said 3 nights you shouldn't stay. Then you will get attachment. The story of sannyasi, I don't know, I told this in that other camp. There was one sannyasi, he had a shishya. So the shishya also was a sannyasi only. So this guru, he went around, he wanted to go around, okay, to some kshetra, whatever. So he told his shishya, take care of this ashrama, I'll be back in few months. So this shishya then was there taking care, and then he saw one day some rats running around. So he didn't know how to catch those rats. Then he thought, okay, this rats, to remove them, we need let me get one cat there so that it can remove the menace of rat. So he bought a cat and kept it in the ashram. And over time, the rats were gone, but the cat needed milk also. So he thought, okay, every day getting milk is becoming a problem. Let me ask somebody to give me one cow so that milk is there. Then gets one cow, and then that cow gives birth to more, and slowly there is more milk than what he needs for the cat. Then he starts selling the milk. Okay, so so the guru takes some time, couple of years. He comes back. He sees this whole ashram has become a huge industry, like with so many cows, everything going on. There is so much activity, and this Shishya, is now like a big, like a industrialist. No, I'm just exaggerating, but what I'm trying to say here is slowly these things will creep in. That is why it is generally advised for Parama. The Parivrajyam is also was prescribed. Don't stay in one place. Don't have a feeling that this is my place. I need to keep this protected. All that. That's all attachment only. So when the person has given up everything, then again beside building another ashram is again another. It also that's what happens today, right? Many sannyasis. They have to build an ashram. For that you get some money. It has to be in 2 acres. And then I need to set up some classes. These classes people are coming. That class nobody is coming. Then it becomes samsara. So much of vyavahara starts. And then they establish foreign ashrams. Nothing wrong in setting up ashram or anything. I'm just saying from the standpoint of the person, right? If the person is untouched by all that some other trustees are creating and just being a conduit for propagating the shastra, there's nothing wrong. That's not what I'm saying. But eventually, some of these things, draw grows on you. Okay, and that is why the parivrajya. Why was it prescribed? I'm just talking about that. So don't stay. They don't also start thinking about next day's food. Okay, who will feed me? What will happen when I become old? Many sannyasis have this problem now. Like when I am old, in old age these days, who will take care? All these will come. So this Paramahamsa sannyasis, their attitude should be that Bhagavan Yogakshemam Bhagati. That's all. That's why Pratipanna, there is a Pratipatti, there is a complete surrender to Bhagavan. Such people for whom the sky is the roof, they are just wherever, whatever comes, they just take and keep going. The mind is fully in the Vastu, Atma Ramaha. That's all. Or they may be just in one place all the time, not bothered about what food they get, whatever. They're just there. They're not wandering. That is also okay. So he's going to say Chala Jala. The second line, Chala Jala Niketascha. Bhashyakara is going to say what it is. Now the question is, doing this kind of thing, is it Shruti Sammata? Is it allowed by Shruti? Can one do it? Because Nagarane Pratyava Yavad Jivam Agnihotram Juhuyat and all that is there. So you can't give up karma is what is an objection. So Bhashyakara quotes from Brihadaranyaka, Etam vai tamatmanam viditva, the famous quote. Etam vai tam atmanam viditva, brahmanaha putraishanayascha, pittaishanayascha, lokaishanayascha, yuttaya bhikshajaryam charanti. Iti. In the having cognized this Surupa Atmanam Brahmavastu, The jnanis, what do? Vyuttaya, having given up every aishana, putra, vitta, loka. So within these three, all kinds of wants are given up. Vikshacharyam charanti iti. There is a vakya. Therefore, it is Shruti Sammatam only. Iti Shrutehe. And he also quotes a Smriti Vakya from Bhagavad Gita. Tadbuddhayaha, tadatmanaha, tannishtaha, tatparayanaha. The keeping one's mind in the Brahmavastu, seeing that as one's own Swarupa, being in Nishta, and all the time only speaking of the Brahman, Tatparayan, the Vayanam. For one, the goal also is the same Brahman. Ityadi Smritescha. Then that is Nistutihi Nirnamaskaraha Niswadhakara Evacha. So Stuti is for Brahman only, Brahmavastu. Namaskara is for Brahman. Swadhakara also is Brahman, everything is Brahman. So having that kind of anishta, then what? Chala chala niketascha yatihi yadrichiko bhavete. Chalam. So chalam means that which is moving. Achalam means that which is not moving. One meaning we saw. The niketa in chala means being in parivaraja, paramahamsa parivaraja state, all the time roaming, doing madhukara vritti. Or achala niketa, the person is one place doing ajagara vritti. That can be one meaning. The second meaning can be chala means river, chalati, all the time flowing. So the person may live on the banks of a river, or achala. Achala means mountain. Or the person may live on mountains in Rishikesh, or both in Uttarakashi or Rishikesh, where there is Nadi Tira, as well as they are on the foots of the mountain. Or the person is in Arunachala, Achala Niketa. So that can also be their meaning. But Bhashyakara gives a very interesting meaning. Chalam shariram pratikshanam anyata bhava. The chalam means this body. Not because body moves, but because body keeps changing. Every second you get a different body because your cells are changing, you are aging, everything is changing with reference to this body. It keeps on changing. From the time of birth till the time of death, this body is constantly changing. Pratikshanam anyata bhavat. It gains a new status every kshana. Therefore, shariram can be called as chalam. Achalam atmatattvam. This atma vastu, chaitanya vastu, is unchanging. Gita also Bhagavan says, right, in what is unchanging within this changing. That is the atma vastu, that is witnessing all the change, because of which all changes are going on. Vinashyatsu avinashyantam. That also he says, in the things which are getting destroyed and keep sprouting and getting destroyed, there is one which is all the time unchanging, like a kutastham achalam dhruvam. That which is like anvil. Okay, in the ironsmith, there is this anvil, right? And there is a on which the person makes he beats the iron objects on it. But that kutastham, it doesn't undergo any change relatively. Okay, it just stays the same. Only the objects which are getting beaten on it undergo change. Likewise, this Atmavastu, Brahmavastu doesn't undergo any change. It is Nirgunaha, Nischalaha, all that. Kevalaha, Chinmatraha. That kind of a thing is Achalam, Atmatattvam, not undergoing any change. So, Chala means Shariram, Achalam means Atma. And this person for some time stays in the Shariram, sometimes stays in the Atmavastu. Yada Kadachit Bhojanadi Samvyavahara Nimittam Akashavat Achalam Swarupam Atmatattvam Atmanaha Niketam Ashrayam Atmastitim Vismritya Ahamiti Manyate Yada Tada Chalaha Dehaha Niketaha Yasya Soyam Evam Chalachala Niketaha Vidwane Na Punaha Bahya Vishayashrayaha Yada Kadachit. At some point, what happens? What is the Swarupa? Akashavad Achalam. Like space, it cannot move because space is everywhere. Where will it move? There is no place for space to move. And even that space is pervaded by this Brahmavastu. Space and things within that space, and like we saw, even time, everything is pervaded. There is nothing where Brahman is not there. So where can it move? Because it can move only if there is another place where it is not there. Clouds move from one place to another place because in the another place it wasn't there, so it can move. Okay. But there is nowhere where it is not there. Therefore, Achalam, it cannot move. It's all pervading. That kind of a Swarupam, Atmatattvam. Leaving that, what does this person do? Bhojanadi Samvyavahara Nimittam. For the doing the transaction of food, if I have to eat, at that time, my mind has to be that I am this body. This is the food which is there on the plate. I am taking this food and eating. Like that, you have to have that Vyavahara. And even then, doing that, honestly speaking, even when doing the Vyavahara, the person recognizes that to be Atmavastu only. But the Nishta right now is there in that body specifically. That's all it is. It's not that the person suddenly loses the jnanam that this body is also Brahman. That is not the point. But the mind, the Nishta is not in fully in the Nirguna Niravayava Brahma. But Savayava Deha only is now I am eating this food. Iti Ahamiti Manyate Yada. Okay. He says Vismritya. Vismritya Swarupam. That Vismritya isn't temporarily suspending. That's all. He is not going to forget. Tada Chalaha Dehaha Niketaha. At that time, the person can be said he is living in the body. Like he is taking himself to the body when eating food. What is your name? You ask the sannyasi. You can't say Mano, Buddhya, Hankara, Chitta, all that, right? The person will say, I am so and so. So, just because a person says so and so doesn't mean he is not a jnani. That's not the point. But at that time, you have to, Vyavahara Nimittam, you are saying that I am this person, so and so. But even saying so and so, the person is Brahman only. Okay, there is no. It's not that during Vyavahara he has completely forgotten his Brahman. No, that's not that. But he is having Nishta on that body for now. Chalaha Dehaha Niketaha Yasya Saha Ayam Evam Chalachala Niketaha Vidwane. So for most of the time the person is rooted only in the Brahmanishta. But just around the time eating food, the person comes back to the Dehatma Buddhi. Therefore, sometimes Chalaniketa, sometimes Achalaniketa iti, that is the Vidwan. And he adds, Punaha Bahya Vishaya Asrayaha na punaha bahya vishayashrayaha. Even though he takes a niketa, he identifies with the body for temporarily, but that doesn't mean the person has any ashraya on external things except for food and some minimal dress and existence. The person is not seeking anything for happiness, for security, for completeness. So it's not that only if he watches a cricket match he can be happy. IPL, Chennai Super King match has to be seen. It's not like that. So just being in one's place without any cell phone or laptop, not watching any news, the person is satisfied, complete. Okay, not that that person should not see the phone and all. That's not what we are saying. But is not, there is no ashraya, there is no dependency on external things for one to be complete. Na punaha bahya vishayashrayaha sacha yadrichiko bhavet yadrucha prapta kaupina achadana grasa matra dehastitihi yatihi yadrichiko bhavet. Yatihi here is Rudi Artha only. Yati means sannyasi. Yati can also be Yatana Shilaha. Okay. That is Vyutpatti Artha. Here, Yadrichika, whatever he obtains, let that person be satisfied. Once it is said, it is Rudi Artha only. This Paramahamsa Sannyasi, may that person be Yadrichikaha. What is Yadrichikatvam? Yadricha Prapta, unplanned. Okay, not scheming for, oh, tomorrow where should I go and get my food? In this house, the food is lacking salt. The fourth house I got better food last week, so how do I make sure that I get that person doesn't think like that. Okay, yadricha prapta, whatever comes, the person is happy. So Puja Swamiji used to say, in those days brahmacharis used to do only bhiksha and eat. They can't have a bank account and go and have masala dosa and all that. Okay, so in our ashram, so we don't have bhikshacharyam and all that. So you go and go and get bhiksha, and so all that used to be in those days. These days it's not possible. So, but then generally Puja Swami says you should keep the spirit. Forms can change. So how do you interpret this bhikshacharyam? Right. So he says, see, bhikshacharyam, the idea there is, what is the principle is, you are not after specific kind of food for taste, all that. Okay. Whatever you do, go to bhiksha, whatever you get, you eat. That's it. So that means your idea is like eat whatever you get rather than pursuing a specific variety of food or taste or whatever. So in the ashram, if that is how the system is set up, then indirectly you are achieving it, right? So that you are not craving for a particular food or you are scheming for a food and all that. That is yadricha prapti. So whatever comes, okay, that grasa matram. Okay, so similarly, kaupina, don't have to go for fancy dresses. Even just a lying cloth is good enough. Achadana, grasa matra, dehastiti. You just need a minimum thing to cover yourself. So you don't need necessarily. So in that, I'm just thinking, Bhashyakara's time, he uses kaupina as the Paramahamsa sannyasi's dress. Okay. It doesn't even say Kashaya Vastra and all that, at least in this Bhashya. So the minimum thing just to keep you. So even there is also this other sannyasa, Digambara sannyasis also, right? Avaduta, who don't even wear the loincloth. But that is also in today's world, what is the point, right? You don't want to become a point of attraction or anything like that. Somebody used to throw stones and all that. Even like 40, 50 years back, there were Avaduta sannyasis in South. People used to throw stones on them, tease them. All disturbance only, you don't have to attract all that. So this Kaupina is fine. That is minimal needed. You don't need to elaborately dress up also. That is what is the point. He says, Yadricha Prapta. Even a small loin cloth is good enough. Any minimal food is good enough. That person just lives. Not working. And putting a cloth also, it doesn't matter. I'm not saying that only loin cloth. This is another thing, right? This Kaupina Panchakam. Kaupinavantah Kalubhagyavantaha. You would have heard about it, right? So, there immediately people will say Kaupina only sannyasis should wear, because that is the big bhagya. Only Kaupina wearing is a bhagya. You should not wear briefs. This is another. People, they just interpret literally. It is actually Kaupina vantopi kalubhagyavanta. Even when the person is only having a loin cloth, still the person is bhagyavan, because the person has gained the Brahman, which is the biggest wealth. That is the understanding you should have. Okay. The idea is not about Kaupina, whether to wear only Kaupina or don't wear this, that. That's not what it is. Even a Kaupina just to cover oneself and a minimum food. That is why Kaupina Achadana Grasamatra Dehastitihi. Enough to protect oneself. The person is satisfied. Not after any fancy dresses and great food and all that. Because there is no anything. See, need is one, the fancied want is another. The luxury. Swami Vivekananda used to say, the more the luxuries become the more the luxuries become necessity, the more bound you are. The more the necessities have become luxury for you, the freer you are, because luxuries you can live without, necessities you can't live without. Now we have to question ourselves, is cell phone a luxury or a necessity? Earlier telephones were luxury, right? But now even cell phones have become necessity. Like I can't even go to toilet without having cell phone in hand. Okay, it has become like that in the world. So now, is that good? Is a question we need to ask, right? So that's why the more and more we keep holding on to things, the less free we are. That's where the dhanam was highlighted. Start giving away, and then you totally give up, except for what is bare minimal. Not that you want to commit suicide by not eating food or get stoned by being an avaduta and all that. Yeah, whatever is minimally needed. See, today's world, for example, right? You can't be a this parivrajya sannyasi and all that, right? Who will feed? Earlier bhikshacharyam was possible. Today it's not possible. So now we can't just go and say I will do only this. Doesn't make, it's not possible, right? So accordingly you have to minorly modify it, keeping the spirit in perspective and live. That's all. The idea is to just keep your mind on Brahman. That's all about it, right? Everything else is purely to facilitate it. Though they are not dogmas. You should only wear loin cloth. You should only wear this cloth. You should only wander. You should only do bhikshacharyam. That's not what is the intent. In those days, it was suggested, but today's world we have to slightly change, but keep the spirit. Tattvamadhyatmikam drishtva तत्त्वं दृष्ट्वा तु बाह्यतः तत्त्वीभूतस्तदारामः तत्त्वादप्रच्युतो भवेत्. So another two verses, basically he concludes this by saying that, no, this is the last verse. Okay, this is the last verse. So concludes saying, Adhyatmikam tattvam drishtva, this tattvam, which is Adhyatmikam, the Atma Sambandha, this Tattvam having recognized it, Tatvi Bhutaha Bhavete, may you become the Tattvam itself, the Brahma Tattvam. You are one, but by recognizing, may you fully be in that. And that's what with that it concludes. Then we will get into Advaita Prakaranam in the next session. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಗುರುಜಿ.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಗುರುಜಿ.